So before you go and spend 50, 100, or maybe even more upgrading your San Diego home, you got to know something. Just because an improvement costs a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean that it adds the same amount of value to your home. In fact, some of the upgrades homeowners spend the most money on can actually make their homes harder to sell. Now, I'm not saying you should never do these things. If you're living in the house, you're getting some real use out of the improvement, it makes you happy, then go ahead and do it. It's your house, right? And you should enjoy it. But if you're spending the money because you think you'll automatically get every dollar back when you sell, that's where you get into a little bit of trouble. In today's video, we're counting down 10 home upgrades that could hurt your resale value here in San Diego, including a few that most homeowners assume will always add value. And if this is your first time here, I'm Chris Erickson with the Living in San Diego real estate crew. We walk through homes with buyers and sellers all over San Diego County, and we get to see which improvements buyers actually get excited about and which ones they barely notice, and also which ones immediately create questions. And once again, this isn't a list of things you should never do. There's a big difference between improving your home for your lifestyle and improving it specifically for resale. So if you're planning to stay in the home for, let's say, 10, 15 years, and you've always wanted to make one of these changes, it might be completely worth it. But if you're planning to sell within the next few years and you're counting on the project to actually make you money, you need to look at it a little differently. So let's jump in and we'll start with number 10. Number 10 is removing the only bathtub in the house. And we see this during bathroom remodels all the time. The homeowner never uses the tub. It takes up a ton of space. The shower is tiny, and they would much rather have one large walk-in shower. And I completely understand that. We see it all the time out there. A large updated shower may look better and be more useful for the person actually living there. The issue is when it is the only bathtub in the entire house. Now, some buyers are still going to want at least one bathtub for the kids, for washing the pets, for soaking, or just having that option. Now, it doesn't mean the house won't sell, and it doesn't even mean that removing it is necessarily the wrong decision. It just means that while the new shower may appeal to one group of buyers, removing the last tub could eliminate the home for another group. And if you have 3 bathrooms and you're removing one tub, that's a different conversation. But if you have a 3-bed, 2-bath house, and you're removing the only tub, think about who the likely buyer might be before making that change. Now, number 9 is building an ADU that makes the main property actually worse. ADUs can be a huge benefit right here in San Diego. They can provide a rental income, multi-generational living, some guest space, a home office, or flexibility for the future. But homeowners sometimes get so focused on the value of the ADU that they ignore what it takes away from the rest of the property. Because maybe it eliminates the entire backyard. Maybe it blocks the main house's natural light or views. Maybe the main home and the ADU are staring directly into each other. And maybe there's no longer anywhere to park, entertain, let the dogs outside, or have any sort of privacy. Now, you may have added another housing unit, but you also made the main home less enjoyable. And a good ADU should still leave the main house with some privacy, a little bit of usable outdoor space, and a layout that makes sense for both properties. The ones that concern buyers are the units that feel like they were squeezed on a lot purely to maximize rental income. And an ADU can absolutely add value, but it doesn't necessarily mean that every ADU design adds the same value. And even when we're out looking at homes, like we see this all the time, like, yeah, people think ADU, I'm going to put in my backyard. It's going to be a great thing for, rental, all that kind of stuff. But they don't think about all the other things we just talked about. And if you're driving around, you're going to see more and more ADUs popping up, even in certain little neighborhoods that we keep eyes on. There was a few houses, one had an ADU, one did not. The one that had an ADU, it literally did take up the entire backyard. It was basically smushed next to the other house. But the thing is, they did have a big enough front yard where that ADU took their backyard. There was still a little bit of usable space, but they were able to basically convert the front yard into more of an outdoor area for the main house, right? And when that home did sell, it didn't take too much longer than the other homes within the neighborhood. It might have sat a few extra days because some people, obviously you're paying a premium for that ADU when you get in there. You kind of are giving up your backyard. But since they did have space in the front to add a little bit more of that outdoor space back, it kind of worked out. So every situation is a little bit different, but you definitely don't want to do it the wrong way. Number 8 is spending heavily on luxury upgrades that are extremely specific to you. So maybe it's a temperature-controlled wine room, a commercial-grade kitchen, some elaborate home theater, golf simulator, built-in aquarium, or some complicated whole home entertainment system. Now, these things may be awesome. You're going to love them. You're going to enjoy them every day. But the more specific the upgrade is to your lifestyle, the less likely the next buyer is going to assign the same value to it. You might have spent $75,000 building out a wine room. Now, a buyer who doesn't drink wine may walk in and wonder how much it will cost to actually turn it back into a bedroom or an office. So this is where homeowners sometimes confuse construction costs with actual market value. When a new buyer comes in, they don't really care about what it costs you. They care about how much value it provides for them. Now, going back to the beginning, right? If you love the improvement, you plan to use it for a ton of years, do it. You're going to enjoy it. You just understand that it is a lifestyle purchase, not necessarily an investment that comes back dollar for dollar. Now, this next one, we're heading outside. Number 7 is putting a huge amount of money into landscaping that the next buyer sees as work. Outdoor living here in San Diego is a huge benefit. Buyers love usable yards, patios, fire pits, outdoor kitchens, pools, the right pools, shade and entertaining areas, but usable outdoor space is not always the same thing as expensive landscaping. You can go out, spend 6 figures on exotic plants, mature trees, water features, elaborate lighting, and a complicated irrigation system, and it might look awesome, but a buyer could walk outside and immediately start calculating the water costs, the landscaping costs, and the maintenance costs as well. We also see backyards designed entirely around one activity. So the whole yard becomes a putting green or a sports court, maybe a giant outdoor kitchen or a beautiful detailed garden, even a koi pond. We've seen that in the past as well. So that might be perfect for you, but it can remove the flexible outdoor space that appeals to more buyers. Now, if you get into good landscaping, that can absolutely help a home sell and make an incredible first impression. The mistake is assuming buyers will reimburse you for every dollar you spent creating it. Now, if you're thinking about selling sometime in the next 3 months, maybe a year, and you're watching this and thinking like, did I make a mistake? Am I going to get the money back that I did put into this home? Don't panic, because every house, every project, and every neighborhood is a little bit different. And so this video is focusing on all the things that can hurt your value. But if you guys want to know 10 things that actually can help your home value, that a lot of buyers are actually looking for right now and tend to be in the long run good investments for your home when you do turn to sell, go ahead and check out that first link right down below. We got the 10 things that can help your home's value if you are looking to improve your home. But now let's get back to the list of 10 things that could hurt your value when you do go to resell. Number 6 is a pool that consumes the entire backyard. And this one's very property specific, because a pool can be a great feature in areas like Poway, Rancho Bernardo, San Marcos, Vista, or some of the other inland communities where buyers may expect larger yards and a little bit warmer weather. And it could also work great near the coast if the lot actually has enough room. But San Diego has plenty of smaller lots where adding a pool means losing almost every other usable part of the backyard. Now, there's no grass, no entertaining area, no room for pets, and no flexibility. So it's really just a swimming pool with a narrow strip of concrete around it. The homeowner might have spent $150,000 building it, but the next buyer might see the pool that requires maintenance, and it took away the yard that they actually wanted. And this is kind of similar to the ADUs. If done right, it's not a bad thing, because it doesn't mean that all pools are bad for resale. It just means that a pool has to fit the property. A pool that completes a backyard can be a major benefit. A pool that overwhelms a backyard can definitely narrow down your buyer. Number 5 is removing a bedroom to improve another part of the house. We just saw this in a property not too long ago, which I'll share with you here in a sec, but maybe you combine 2 smaller bedrooms to create a massive primary suite. Maybe you turn one bedroom into a giant walk-in closet. Maybe you remove another bedroom to expand the kitchen, create an office, or make the living room better. Now, the result may actually be a nicer house, but you're still going to have to account for the fact that your 4-bedroom home may now be a 3-bedroom home. And that's going to matter because buyers search based on bedroom count. Someone specifically looking for a 4-bedroom home may never even see your property online. It can also change the comparable sales buyers and appraisers use when evaluating a property. This is especially important in neighborhoods where the typical buyer expects a certain number of bedrooms. And turning a small 4-bedroom home into a well-designed 3-bedroom home may improve the floor plan, but it might also put you into a completely different group of competing properties. So don't always assume that a bigger primary suite automatically makes up for the lost bedroom. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And we recently saw this over in a property in North County where they actually did that. They took the entire extra bedroom upstairs, they converted it to a walk-in closet, also made the bathroom a little bigger. So the primary suite was big, it was large. Now it had that entire It was a walk-in closet because it used to be an entire room. Now this home still got looks, it still got competition, it still went pending fairly quickly. But if you're looking at different comparables around there, like I said, it was definitely a little bit below everything else that was on the market that did have that fourth bedroom, because they took away the entire fourth bedroom and it's not even an office now. It's not even really usable space. All it was at that point was a walk-in closet, which if you're looking for that, if you do want a large primary suite with a big walk-in closet, then that's going to be a good thing if you are a buyer. But that is going to be a little bit narrower buyer pool than if you're looking just for a 4-bedroom home with a standard primary suite that doesn't have everything converted like that. Number 4 is going to be solar, but not solar itself, because solar can make a lot of sense here in San Diego, especially for someone who plans to stay in the home and actually use the system for years to come. The problem is solar with bad financing, maybe a lease on it, or payments that increase over time. And here's why: because when it's time to sell, the buyer, new buyer coming in, is going to have to qualify to assume that agreement. Now, if the buyer doesn't want it or can't assume it, the seller is going to have to pay it off or buy out the agreement. And that payoff can become a major surprise if you're in the middle of a sale. So the questions we want answered are: who owns the system? What is still owed? Does the payment increase over time? How much longer is left on the agreement? Can the buyer actually assume it? And then one thing you got to think about solar is, since it's on your roof, what happens when the roof needs to be repaired or replaced? So is solar always bad? Not necessarily. If it makes sense for you, you have a long time frame, and the payments make sense, then go ahead and do it if it's going to outweigh your actual bill and you're going to actually make some money back. But there are some things that you need to keep in mind. Number 3 is the garage conversion. That's not really a legitimate ADU. You know, like the ones that someone put down flooring, added some drywall, installed a few cabinets, maybe ran some plumbing into the space, but it still feels like a garage. The floor is still sloping down towards the driveway. The ceiling's unfinished maybe. Electrical looks a little questionable. There could be exposed pipes, no real heating, no vents out there maybe, and nobody can clearly explain whether the work was permitted or not. Now, at that same time, the property has now lost the garage, which here in San Diego is huge. That is our basements. That's where we have our gyms, our storage, all that kind of stuff. And in some neighborhoods where parking or even that storage is already limited, that can be an issue. But on the flip side, a well-designed or properly permitted garage conversion that actually functions as a legitimate living space can also be an asset. Now, a questionable garage room can create concerns about safety, workmanship, permits, insurance, all that kind of stuff, maybe even appraisals. But don't assume that adding flooring and a bathroom automatically turns a garage into a valuable living space. Sometimes buyers give it very little value because they're now already thinking about how much it's going to cost to correct it or turn it back to a normal garage. Number 2 is the extra square footage that does not officially exist. The seller says the home is 2,200 square foot. Public records might show 1,700 square foot. So where'd that additional square footage come from? Maybe someone enclosed a patio, converted that garage like we just talked about, added a room, built over the garage, or just connected an exterior space to the main house. Now, if you're living there, right, that additional space might be useful. It might even be your favorite part of the property. But if it's not properly permitted, documented, and finalized, buyers may not value it in the same way as the original living area. An appraiser might treat it differently. A buyer might ask questions whether it was constructed properly. The buyer's lender or insurance company might also have questions. And the seller might have difficulty proving exactly what was done and when. And number 1 is going to be renovating the home beyond what the neighborhood can actually support. Now, this is a big mistake because it usually involves the most amount of money. Let's say an original home in a neighborhood sells for around $1 million. Nicely remodeled homes can sell for around 1.2. The highest sale in the neighborhood has ever seen is about 1.3. And then you're living in one of these homes and you put $500,000 into it, right? You add luxury finishes, expand the house, redo the entire yard, and create one of the nicest homes in the neighborhood. That doesn't automatically make the home worth 1.5 million bucks. Buyers are going to come in, they might love it, but at the same point, they begin comparing it to what else they can buy at that price in the same area. And instead of buying the most expensive home in that neighborhood, could they buy in a different location that might be a little bit better? Could they get a better view, a larger lot, maybe a better floor plan, or an entirely different community? And some things to think about going through the process, there could even be appraisal issues. So even if a buyer is willing to pay your price, the appraiser might still need comparable properties that support it. That's where homeowners might get a little bit frustrated. They say, but I spent $300,000 on this remodel. But unfortunately, buyers and appraisers aren't simply adding up your receipts. They're looking at the home and the location, which other properties have recently sold nearby. Now, your home might actually sell for a new high in the neighborhood, but there is usually still a limit to how far buyers will stretch. And there's a really good example of this over in coastal North County, San Diego that we saw. And it was a home that was completely decked out. And this neighborhood was typically at this time probably 1.4 to 1.6 range as far as single family homes go. This home was expanded. It was on one of those shows, HGTV or something, where they come in and actually remodel the home. And they had a big family. They needed it specific for their needs. So they built it out, took out basically the entire backyard, added bedrooms, made it bigger, just like it was a much bigger property, like these, huge soaring ceiling rooms and stuff. Now it stood out in that community. However, when they did put it on the market, it was like $2 million range. So that's well above the other comparables in the property. So it did sit for a while. It did not get any offers. It did come off the market. It came back on and it ultimately sold not for that price. It was closer, it was still a little bit of a premium. But if they had had money out of pocket, there's no way they would have got the money back that they had put into it. And the whole main takeaway is not that you should avoid improving your home. It's your home. It's where you live every day. You have to enjoy it. If ADU helps your family or a pool makes your summers better, maybe a large shower makes the bathroom more useful, or an incredible backyard is something you've always wanted, all those improvements can have real value to you. But if you're thinking about it for the resale value, a project can make your life better and still not produce dollar for dollar returns when you actually do go to sell. And if you're getting closer to making the move, talk to someone before making a major project. But like I said, there are some things that you can do to your home that can help it sell quickly, that can help it actually improve the value and help you get top dollar for your home. But it's going to vary from house to house what actually would make sense. So if you guys are thinking about seriously selling in the next 1 month to 1 year or even beyond, and you want to start that conversation, feel free to book a strategy call right down below, and we could help you get a realistic plan for your home and what makes the most sense for your specific situation. So as always, I'm Chris Erickson with the Living in San Diego Real Estate Crew, and we got your back when making the move here in San Diego.